Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a 737 pilot and a member of PMDG's tech team. In today's video I want to give you a small explanation as to why Asobos weather radar API is useless. We're currently sitting in the A310, which to my knowledge is the only airliner that currently has the weather radar implemented, and indeed we do get quite some returns over here. So if we have a look down at our navigation display, we can see our antenna tilt is set 1.5 degrees down, and we got some huge red and amber areas on the weather radar here. And in real life this would be an instant deviation to the left to get somewhere through here, and even at flight level 350, if you flew through some amber returns, that would probably become a serious problem for you, because there would be a lot of energy inside these clouds and inside these weather phenomena to even get them up here. But before we get that far, let's do a quick analysis of the weather that we have ahead. So our antenna tilt is currently set 1.5 degrees down. The first thing we would do when we see something like this in our weather radar is to tilt the antenna upwards to see where the tops actually are. So we can do a little mathematics and see with 1.5 degrees antenna tilt down from here, whether that is 60 miles away would probably be far below us. So what we would do now is to go down to the weather radar panel and just experiment a little bit with it. Maybe start setting it to 0 degrees first. Now also keep in mind the width of the beam of the weather radar, which usually is around 2.5 degrees. So with the tilt set to 0, we would now expect to see pretty much what we have at our level and a tiny bit above and below that. Therefore, the next setting we would do is to go upwards a little bit, and at 1.5 degree up we could now basically eliminate most of the returns that are from below our flight levels. Now as the overall picture of the weather barely changes here, that is basically our indicator that we would have a huge thunderstorm cell up here, and we would therefore try to avoid that as good as possible, so a left turn may be heading 090 or something. But here comes the problem. Let's now look outside. We can see that there is pretty much nothing at our levels. This is all weather that is down low at very low altitudes. And that is the problem that the Asobos weather radar has. Basically it is not a weather radar as per se, but it is a top-down view of the weather phenomena that we have ahead. So if we have a look outside once again, then we see that somewhere over there is some really bad weather downstairs. But looking at this, I would expect some huge cumulonimbus clouds right in front of us, which simply is not the case. And as we can see, doing all the tilting basically has like zero effect. Let me turn this all the way down. And now I would expect the total change of the picture that we are seeing over here. It would not be able to pick up any returns from the end of the display, because the radar beam would hit the ground somewhere maybe in the middle of our navigation display right now. So after this we would only get returns from the landmass, and if those are not filtered out, then we would just get, you know, something, but certainly not the same picture that we're currently seeing over here. The same goes if we now tilt the weather radar antenna like 15 degrees upwards, then I would expect all of this to vanish, because as we can see above us there is only blue skies. But it doesn't, and a weather radar is an analytics tool. You use the different antenna tilts, or in more modern radars you would be able to select the different flight levels. You use those in order to determine where the weather is and how to best avoid it. And as we can see, that is simply impossible. Now, I know that some of you have told me under my last weather radar video that Asobos does make scanning different levels possible as well, but from as far as I know by now, this is only possible for aircraft that are written in JavaScript and not for those that are using WASM technology. Now, since pretty much any of the good add-on aircraft are made in WASM, because JavaScript does simply not allow sophisticated aircraft to be brought up to a level that is really where we want our study level aircraft to be, That means that the present weather radar API is just unusable. And one last try that we can do here, that is the different modes of the radar. So right now we're in turbulence mode. If we change this to a weather mode... Oh, it doesn't even have that, okay. Okay, that's just the test mode. Disregard that. Put it into turbulence map. Do we get anything in the map mode? No, we don't. Okay. So that basically shows the fidelity that the weather radar in Microsoft Flight Simulator has, or not. And that is the very reason why weather radar in Microsoft Flight Simulator with the present data available is simply not possible. What we can get is a 2D top-down view like we have on the display over here, but if you just look outside you will see that that is basically of no use whatsoever in order to determine a possible action or a possible course of action to avoid that weather, or if we have to avoid it at all. And after all, that is exactly what a weather radar is about. Analyzing the weather, determining your course of action if you need to avoid it, and if yes, then how to avoid it. And simply none of this is possible with the current weather radar implementation available. I hope you found this one informative, and I hope that it sheds a little bit of light into why I keep saying that a good weather radar or weather radar at all is not possible, because what we see over here simply has nothing to do with what a weather radar is used for and how a weather radar is used in real life. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have found this one informative. If you did, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really want to support the channel, you can do so through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. But for now, thank you very much for your attention, and I'm looking forward to welcome you all again on the next one.